So today's video, we're going to talk about XRP, a price prediction based off psychological levels and most importantly Fibonacci. I've done a few of these videos before. I've done Polkadot, I've done Cardano, and I've done Ethereum. XRP is next on the list. So if you enjoy these videos, check out the other ones, leave a like, and if you could, it would help me out massively if you hit the subscribe button, as I'm looking to grow the channel. So let's get into it. So XRP. First things first, let's get this. I don't mind it. A lot of people think I don't like it. A lot of people think that I like it. A lot of people think that I hate it. Just because I don't hold it doesn't mean I don't like it. I was an XRP holder. I've made some money on XRP back in the day, and I wanted to do well. I wanted to kick the ass of the SEC. I wanted to do some sort of cryptocurrency win for us all. So let's talk about it. Why do I think it's a good asset? In my opinion, it is by far one of the strongest cryptocurrency assets going. The volume is ridiculous. The market cap is still $24.7 billion. It is by far, in my opinion, the best performing asset of the last year. It has been doing probably better than most altcoins. There's a couple out there that are obvious. Injective, for example, Render, for example, and I'm struggling to think of any more real top tier assets, essentially in the top 50 or the top 100 that have actually went on a massive run other than the likes of XRP. When you look at the other altcoins, they're not really doing that well in the grand scheme of things, right? So when we look at the chart, it doesn't look great, but it hasn't looked anything worse than what the previous charts in terms of the altcoins would give us, in terms of the fact that most of them have actually been going down slowly. This has actually went up quite a bit, and it has. It doesn't look like much, does it? But when you look at this low from the January, 31 cents to the high of, roughly 57, it's actually up 82%, which is better than most altcoins, as I've alluded to. So let's get into some nitty-gritty kind of price analysis. But first, I want to explain something very, very obvious here. That word there, community, powered utility. I've already went over it and talked about volume. The volume going through XRP, through enterprises, through use case, all that kind of stuff is actually pretty impressive. Right, that's a lot. And when you compare volume, and let's just look at it. This is the volume chart that we've got. Now, it is third in terms of asset. Bitcoin is first, Ethereum is second, XRP is third. Fourth, Litecoin. Then you got Bitcoin Cash, then Solana. So it's not a bad asset, let's be fair here. Now, going down onto this, one of the things that people often forget is the low cost and the high performance throughput. It isn't a bad asset for that. So I still recommend people, certainly in my communities, if you're looking to move money fast and efficiently, unless you don't already hold something that can do it anyways, check out XRP and use that as a channel to move. It is deeply frustrating when you're on an exchange, right, and you cannot move it because it's slow or it's on the Ethereum chain. So let me segue into something that's pretty important here. When we're talking about price predictions, when we're talking about use case, network effect is huge. Network effect is absolutely astronomically huge. Now, I've already said it's not a bad chart. Now, when we talk about the most obvious thing in the world here, use case and suffocation and the kicking in the balls by the SEC, sorry, but it did happen. At the time, people often said about it, oh, XRP's finished, but realistically, what happened was Coinbase, you unlisted it. And that was where the problems laid for that previous cycle. When you think at the end of 2020 and into 2021, there was a lot of rumors about an XRP SEC lawsuit. It came true, and everyone, I wouldn't say everyone, but a lot of American exchanges shat themselves, right? That has a big factor on this price prediction as well, because we've got to look at the previous data. First cycle I was involved in, look at it. It went bananas. Look at it here. didn't go nowhere near as high. Doesn't mean it was a finished article, but look at where it is now. It is still holding quite steady. And you could probably argue in terms of a buy range, it isn't a bad place to buy. So let's draw the first fib. I'm going to go from the previous high to this low, right? Now this gives us basically everything that we need to know. It gives us some solid key levels on this monthly time frame. If we go over to the weekly, we can see beautiful symmetry between the 618 levels and most importantly the previous levels as well. We've got a bit of a run here. Now, when we talk about price predictions and profit taking, we've got to look at the most obvious and key levels. So what you tend to do, go to the higher time frames and look at where these have stopped and turned around, right? This is kind of very, 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 in my opinion, important to understand where the market can go. It looks a bit wild having that there, but because this is on closures, that's probably why. So don't worry about it. So if you're a beginner and you want to know how support and resistance works, go to the line chart and start putting levels on. So for example here, 94 is a great level for candle closure right next to the 382. Same with the 50%. There's been 2 closures in and around that area. Again, there's been a closure around in the 618 as well. Huge. So it makes a huge difference knowing where things have been. So let's go on to wrong candles. The actual the candles itself. That to me is a massive factor. Now, again, when we're looking at where this can go, if we're looking at the 618 levels, it's nearly a 3x to be fair. Not a bad little return. However, I think this can go much more. This is probably the bit that you're expecting. I do not believe, in my opinion, that it's that unheard of to see it do a 10x from here and to be a $240 billion asset. Why? Because that is where Ethereum is right now, and Ethereum is deeply, in my opinion, undervalued right now in terms of its current price state. XRP has potential to do very well. It does. But I will say this, it's not going to go to like $15, $17, $25, $30, $45 anytime soon. It's probably never going to get there because of the supply. The supply is huge. But to me, a 10x from here isn't unlikely. And if we zoom out and look at where these fib levels are, I look at that sort of level and think that to me is possible. I don't want to be too skeptical and go, wow, speculation wise, I think that's probably going to be impossible, certainly in the next cycle, but I could be wrong. Nothing's impossible. But to me, this 2.618 level, for me, as an individual who likes the market, is looking like a much safer, better number. However, let's talk about it. This requires 2 things. Coinbase to relist it and Coinbase to become a bit of a powerhouse with the fact of BlackRock, with all these big institutions looking to invest in crypto. Point number 2, the SEC lawsuit needs to get put in the bin, or they need to win. If they win, that could be game on for a lot of cryptos, not just XRP. So when we're looking at that, it's huge. So in terms of a plan to get to this point, if it ever gets there, is stepping stones, right? You've got all these little levels here where you can take partial profits, kind of important really. So you buy low, you sell high. It's kind of obvious. People don't quite get it on my channel sometimes. It's like, why would you want to buy it when it's low? Buy it when it's doing well in a trend. Fuck off. It doesn't work because you're going to lose out your multiples. You've got to buy supports. Now to me, this area of 28 cents has been an absolute beefy support. As I've said, it's been one of the best performing assets of this year in terms of altcoin kind of, returns. It's looking relatively strong. You have to take profits around that $1 if you are looking to survive. Even if it's 10%, just help you get a little bit extra. You've obviously got the $1.32, at the 618 levels, huge level. You can see where the wicks are. And then when it starts to get into that discovery mode and where it'll get a bit sticky will be obviously around here. If it gets above this region, it may well just get sent, but it depends on the market, depends on the institutions. You've got to ask the question, will XRP be the one that people will look at? And this is important. Education of around that circular kind of way of thinking is going to be hugely important to think like an institution. Will XRP be ever on the radar? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how things go with that. But to me, I think a 10x is definitely doable in terms of a really solid, strong bull market with the lawsuit sorted and all that kind of stuff. Now, I talk quite a lot about this on my Patreon in terms of that methodology, in terms of how I do things. If you're interested, you can join the community for free now. It's here. You can join. I will do public posts every now and again. If you want to get all the juicy stuff, it's here. It's free for 7 days. Give it a go. There's a chance that you probably won't be around on a trial for much longer, and you probably will stay. It usually happens. Apologies for the selling, but sometimes people need to be knowing where to think. Now, as I say, I talk about analysis like this quite often, and it's worked in previous cycles. If we go back, let's have a look at the back of the time machine here. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This sort of big boom, it may never be as quick as that, but it may well trickle up over the next few months, few years, into a certain price range, certainly up until maybe 2025 in terms of the new cycle. But just be mindful, XRP has a habit of doing stuff like this. It likes to have absolute giga candles. So that being said, buying support levels isn't a bad place to be. Anyways, if you enjoyed said video, leave a like. It's massively appreciated. Also, subscribe if you're new, but there's a video to my side of me, which is another price prediction what I did recently. Check that out. And also, Learning Crypto, my company. All the courses are included in premium. 14-day free trial on that one. That's a good one too.